Filipinos in Singapore talk.
Can we just talk?
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.
Before we get lost.
Filipinos in Singapore talk. FISTalk.
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live. 9 to 11 p.m. live. 9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.
So stop thinking about it. Can we just talk? Can we just talk about
Filipinos in Singapore talk.
Can we just talk?
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.
Before we get lost.
So, kailangan yung T side nito sa noo, tsaka sa ilong maayos. Uy, maganda yung ano mo maganda yung lipstick mo Saan mo nakuha yan?
Shopee.
Oh,
Shopee lang to.
Ako siya daughter ko yung
Sa daughter mo.
siya daughter, hindi siya. Siya daughter.
Nice.
Ay, grabe. Alam mo, kasi every time na yung mga anak ko, merong, merong program sa school, tapos wala si Mrs. Ako yung may hawak ng makeup. Seryoso ako. Ako yung may hawak ng makeup. Ako yung hawak ng makeup kit. Tapos ako lang lalaki. Itong problema ko. Ako lang yung lalaki. Lahat sila nakatingin sa akin kasi ako yung nagme-makeup sa mga anak ko na nagbabale, na meron silang, kasi member sila ng mga ibang arts group, no? Tapos tatanungin ako, ba't marunong ka niyan? Sabi ko, kasama sa trabaho. Sabi niya, anong trabaho mo? Drag queen ka ba? Hindi. Kailangan sa trabaho. Minsan, meron kaming camera na nakatutok sa amin. Kesa na mag-rely ako dun sa mga makeup artist, ako na lang gagawa ng para ayusin yung
Oo, tama. Mas mura.
Mas mura. Tsaka kasi pag yung lights talaga sa television, masakit talaga yung lights. Alam mo yung tungsten lights, no? Jeff, tulad ng lights sa mga camera. Ano yun? Mga kulang, siguro feeling 38 degrees sa harapan mo. 38-40 degrees ang feeling pag nandun yung mga lights. So merong fill lights, merong front lights, tapos merong yung sa harapan pa mismo, ang daming lights talaga. Actually pwede kang magprito ng itlog dun sa mga lights na yun. So kailangan talaga naka-makeup pag nasa TV or pag may mga shooting na gano'n kasi it's also to protect your skin besides that. Tsaka syempre,
cosmetic show na tayo
O diba? Tsaka para hindi ka na manghiram sa mga kabarkada mo kasi maaasar sila pag lalaki ka tapos meron kayong mga shows, lagi kang hiram ng makeup. Kaya ginagawa ko, it's either I buy my own or tinatanong ko sa daughter ko kung ano yung mga hindi niya na kailangan and I have this pouch with me every time. Ayan. Nandiyan lahat ng magic. Yan. Nandiyan lahat yan. Ganon, di ba? Kailangan yan May mga show. Kaya minsan, Wag nang manghiram. And in fairness, lahat ng nasa TV ay mini-make-upan, karaniwan. Syempre,
tama.
At saka skills din yun. Alam ba si Tiffany yung kumanta ng Could Have Been So Beautiful? Tsaka yung If Love Is Blind. Ang makeup artist niya, yung asawa niya. Yun ang makeup art.
Ah.
Lalaki na asawa niya yung makeup artist niya. And actually, straight men actually have this as a career. In Singapore, there are many mga lalaki na nag-major, okay, nag-degree in Australia, majoring in hairdressing, makeup. I've learned about that. I've interviewed quite a couple of Singaporeans na gano'n. Jem, di ba, nagtatanong tayo, ano bang panahon ngayon? This is the Pride Month na sineselebrate hindi
Yes.
lang sa Singapore, kundi sa buong mundo. Although sa Singapore, it's a bit more controversial dahil nga sa ating penal code and whatnot, at iba-iba pa. Pero ang katotohanan nito, yung Pride Month na sineselebrate hindi lang sa ating bansa, kundi sa guest natin na mamaya i-introduce natin, ay sineselebrate sa buong mundo, okay? At kung hindi po natin alam, ito po ay matagal na. Mamaya bibigyan namin yung mga overview and maybe ang ating guest mamaya can also tell us more about this much later on. Jeff, nung full-time DJ pa ako, in the Central Business District sa Raffles City, sa Cecil Street, yung lahat ng may mga bangko na pagka nag-open ka ng bank account sa Cecil Street o sa CBD ka lang, meron ka mga to the tune of $500,000 or more. Iba yung mga bangko na yun.
Wow.
Naglakad kami doon kasama ng mga personalities and you can share that. Naglakad kami doon at pakita mo yung picture natin. Ayan, ako po si Britney Spears. Ayan.
Nasaan ka dito?
Ako yung pinaka magandang dilag na nasa extreme right. Ayan, yung may blonde hair. Yan yung may blonde hair.
Wow.
Sa baba. Nasa extreme right.
Ito.
Ano, ako yan. Ayan. So, ako yun. So, naglakad kami ng buong CBD, Central Business District, with all my colleagues. Yung mga babae, naging Justin Bieber, Slash. Yung mga lalaki, naging Lady Gaga, Beyonce. Ako, I tried to be Britney Spears. So, yung mga makeup artists namin did this. Magandang i-celebrate during that time yung Pride Month, pero there are two sides. Yung mga babae, karaniwan welcoming sa amin kasi talagang stint lang ng stasyon, di ba? Pero nung nasa gitna kami ng kalye, ang daming nagmumura sa amin. Yung iba dumura pa.
Wow.
They spit on the ground. Yung iba nagpa-take ng picture sa amin, pero yung hatred, pero pang isang picture na nangyari sa amin, if it's a social experiment, kahindik-hindik yung karanasan namin kasi may mga iba talaga na yung humihiyaw ng vulgarities in the middle of the street, in their cars, in their motorbikes. Kaya na-feel namin talaga kasi may mga kabarkada tayo na are also in the LGBTQI community na if we were them, ano kaya ang nararamdaman nila if we were them in their lives every day, in their daily living, no? Paano kaya? Kasi kami, isang araw lang to. It's so hard. I borrowed my wife's leotards, I borrowed my wife's skirt, and yung bra niya, tsaka whatnot. Lahat ng get up ko dyan sa wife ko yan. At ang wife ko naman, very supportive when it comes to anything like this. Pero yung karanasan namin na lahat kami namura, may sumumpa, yung iba mga natuwa, pero yung iba talaga grabe yung yung pagka-conservative ba na hindi open sa ganitong klaseng buhay ng ating mga kaibigan na nasa LGBTQI. So lesson learned talaga yun, lesson learned. It was a big eye opener.
Mahirap pala, no?
Mahirap, hindi madali. Tsaka yung mga na-interview namin talaga in the LGBTQI community pamula sa abuse, rape, segregation, alienation, discrimination, stereotype. Ang daming mga ganon na nung narinig yun ng mga estudyante ko, kasi bilang isang guro, nung narinig ito ng mga estudyante ko, hindi nila ito alam for the first time before, hanggang sa magkaroon kami ng proyekto sa Pilipinas na na-meet nila yung mga LGBTQI community. So yung experience ng mga estudyante ko nung narinig nila yun first hand sa mga LGBTQI community. Alam mo yung mga straight na lalaki na kasama namin. Sila mismo umiyak sila during the conversation. At ito ay mga Singaporeans, no? Mga Singaporean kids who've never really faced them. And then at the same time, mga Pilipino na kasama rin nila ay nagulat din, na surprise sa mga ganong klaseng istorya ng ating mga LGBTQI sa Cagayan de Oro. So yun ang background diyan. So anywho, ang daming mga pwedeng pag-usapan ngayon. Maya-maya meron tayong kakausapin. Jeff, ikaw ang mag-introduce sa kanya para maayos. At saka ano yung mga lugar sa Singapore na pwede niyong puntahan na ito ay galing sa mga LGBTQI community na open for all, na safe ka pag nandun ka, at the same time maiintindihan mo rin sila halos. Ilan dito sa mga clubs tsaka bars na ito pinuntahan ko personally before. at sana makita nyo rin para malaman nyo kung ano yung insiders point tsaka mga buhay ng ating mga LGBTQI community. Sa Singapore, right?
Singapore,
Mm-mm.
Alright, sige. Then, i-follow through mo natin. Mag-ano muna tayo. Tatapos lang ako ng makeup ko. Then we'll come
Tatanggalin
back
ko muna
again.
yung robe ko, medyo mainit eh. Yan. Tsaka para
Sige.
mas maganda, para yung ganda ang focus hindi sa atin, di ba? Yan.
Oo, may mas maganda sa atin eh.
May mas maganda sa atin eh. Mas maalindog sa atin.
Oo, mailindog.
Okay?
Alright, see you in a while.
Okay.
Filipinos in Singapore talk.
Can we just talk?
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.
Before we get lost.
Filipinos in Singapore talk. FISTalk.
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live. 9 to 11 p.m. live. 9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.
So stop thinking about it. Can we just talk? Can we just talk about where we go before we get
All right,
we're back.
Greetings to one and all. Ito po si Super Mario, kasama si Jeff G. Ito po ang FIS or FISTalk live coming from Singapore. Good evening to one and all.
Good evening.
Ayan, ikaw na mag-introduce.
Fresh ka, Mario.
Jeff, ang ganda-ganda ng lips mo. Parang
Oo nga, hindi natatanggal eh.
you're so huggable.
Oo nga, parang
kakulay mo yung
araw-arawin
suot
ko na to.
Parang kakulay mo yung suot ng guest natin at kumikinang-kinang. Grabe.
Oo nga.
Ay, kissable na kissable
Actually,
yun. Jeff. Okay.
Pwede na, kiss ko yung sarili ko.
Okay.
Alright, so introduce natin tong bagong guest natin. Actually, sabi niya sa akin, introduce ko siya as a writer. Pero in fact, marami siyang achievements.
Hirap,
so hindi ko alam paano introduce.
Oo, mahirap i-introduce. Ang dami nung tawag dito, ang dami niyang weapons na pag binanggit mo lahat, grabe. You just admire this person. Right. Okay.
So siya is a teacher sa Maastricht, Netherlands. She has a master's in international relation at Leiden University and a BA combined major in world politics and global justice, minor in international development, and magna cum laude siya. On top of that, she has a BA in business administration, human resources management from the Open University in Hong Kong. And ang pinaka-importanting ginagawa niya is she has a mission to advocating the advancement of rights of transgenders. And actually she co-founded the Society of Transsexual Women of the Philippines, which is called in short STRAP. Ang amazing dito, she spoke in the UN way back in 2009, and she was awarded by the body yung Harry Benjamin Distinguished Education and Advocacy Award. So napakalupit ng kanyang background, and we are very proud to introduce the Sass Rogando Sasot.
Welcome, Sass.
Palakpakan.
Hi, good evening Singapore and good afternoon from the Netherlands.
Hapon na pala dyan, no? Talaga. Ang ganda-ganda naman ni Sass.
Lang.
Pinanonood namin kanina yung mga ibang mga live streaming podcast mo, and it's just amazing to hear at saka marinig yung mga magandang view mo. Yung kanina yung pinanood ko is your view 24 hours after the demise of President Benigno Aquino. Ang ganda nung ginawa mo kasi you could have gone to the extreme right or go to the extreme left, pero nasa gitna ka. Ang ganda nung sinabi mo, tsaka ng mga merong batikos, merong hugot, pero nasa gitna ka and you're able to do. And I really respect that a lot, really. Kasi karaniwan, di ba, yung pag may ng batikos sa vlogs tsaka sa mga podcast, kitang-kita mo yung kulay. Yung sa'yo, nasa gitna ka and you're able to balance. Ang galing.
Kasi naman, even the people we hate, meron din naman silang mga ginawang tama, di ba? Parang, hindi naman one-dimensional ang mga tao. Diba?
Oo, totoo yun. Sash, gusto ko lang sabihin sa'yo, kung ito yung sa Pride Month na pinakamahalaga, kung merong gustong, ano yung mga narinig mo minsan na pagka in-approach ka ng mga tao is okay at saka hindi okay. Ibig sabihin, in-approach kita, for example, first time kita makita, minsan kasi may mga hugot yung mga tao na hindi masyado balanse sa buhay na medyo, ang tawag dun, offensive, pero hindi na alam na offensive sila. Ano yung mga encounters mo na gano'n na ang akala nila hindi sila offensive pala sila?
Well, ako naman kasi, it really depends on the context and ng sitwasyon. Kasi even mga questions na it might appear offensive, pag nasa ibang context, it might not be. Halimbawa, magkakilala na tayo, di ba, nag-jive na tayo, may rapport na tayo, and then you might ask me a question. And then, kung ibang context yon, it might be offensive in other ways. Like, for example, ito yung pinakamaganda kong recent experience, ha.
Okay.
May Tinder kasi ako noon.
Okay, may Tinder ka?
Wala na akong Tinder. So kung nakikita niyo ako sa Tinder, hindi po ako yan, ha.
Magandang information yan.
Wala na akong dating apps. I gave up on dating apps.
Yung mga taga-Netherlands.
Wala na ako. So kung may nakita ko sa Tinder, hindi ako yan, fake profile yan. Anyway, so it happened parang before the pandemic. Pandemic. I think this is one of the reasons kung bakit na nga ako nag-delete ng dating app. Kasi, diba, and I'm very open kasi sa dating profile ko na, okay, I'm a woman with a transsexual background. Kasi I don't want ng complications. Parang, alam mo na from the get-go, diba? Ang problema kasi, Maastricht is a very small city. And, so, makikita ka, tapos asyana pa akong blonde. Di ba?
Oo.
Makikita na. Makikita na asyanang blonde. So, I'm a very distinguishable person. Pag nakita mo ako so, may lumapit sa akin one time. Ang unang bungad ba naman? Ang bungad sa akin, nakita kita sa Tinder. Sabi ko, okay. Syempre, hindi ko naman siya sinwipe right, no? Kasi kung sinwipe right ko siya, di ba? Di ba kung nag-swipe right ako, dapat nag-chichikahan na kami sa Tinder. So, nagulat ako na parang, bakit ako kinakausap dito? Hindi ko naman ito swipe right.
Yan, meron tayong lesson na.
Ang unang tanong sa akin, does it get wet? So, ako na parang,
huh?
Di ba?
Ano sagot mo, my hair?
Tininan ko lang siya na parang, diba? Pero pag ibang context kasi yan, friends, diba? Na tanong nila ako, I wouldn't find it offensive, pero yung kakamit pa lang kita, gano'n na kagano'n tanong sa akin. Hindi mo lang tinanong sa akin kung gusto ko ba ng kape. Inaya mo naman sana ako ng beer muna.
O yung parang pagka na-meet lang kita, instead na appreciating you in the right approach or right words, instead of saying, I like your lips, I like your mouth. Parang gano'n.
Di ba kagad? Di ba talagang, get wet kagad? Di ba, bilis, advance ka mag-isip ha? Advance ka mag-isip. I think naman, meron, alam mo, in a context ng ganito, I think alam naman natin kung ano yung mga bagay na we shouldn't ask a person right away. Nakakamit mo pa lang. Ano ba? Wala ba tayong social development and character development, education na natutunan na it's not proper to ask that question nakakamit mo pa sa tao.
Actually, Sass, ang feeling ko minsan dyan, ang karaniwan kahit mga Pinoy, hindi dahil sa hindi nila alam, minsan karaniwan hindi lang tawag dito, they're not used to talking to the transsexuals or the transgenders. So minsan tawag dito, nai-insecure sila sometimes to talk to people who are different from them. Not because they hate you or anything like that, pero minsan mali talaga yung approach. So, innocent thing no, Sash. Halimbawa ako, let's just say I'm really not familiar, I don't even expose myself to transgenders or transsexuals or gays for that matter. Ano yung mga tamang approach para maging secure ako at confident in order for me to confidently say, kahit na straight ako, I can easily talk to you without offending you and we can still get by. Alam mo yun? Kasi minsan ang problema, walang confidence yung mga tao eh.
I think, gayahin niyo yung approach ng mga magagaling na stand-up comedians, 'di ba? Bago sila magsabi ng something that might offend another person, sila yung sarili muna nila yung pinuput down nila, 'di ba? Na parang it acts as a grease, na parang I also see myself as, some who has flaws na you could laugh at, 'di ba? And then yung mga stand-up comedian, that's the time na doon na sila nagpapatawa using other people, 'di ba? Pero can you imagine kung hindi ganun yung approach? Of course, the other person would feel na you're attacking them. So I think ganun din na parang, the best communicators, they first relate, they first share the experience.
Tanungin kita, Sash, ano yung nakita mo na experience mo in your own, siguro mga, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 things na na-experience mo na maling approach ng mga tao sa iyo, no? Whether you have been already become like what you are right now or even before. Ano yung mga maling approach na you can tell them, wag ganon, dapat ganito? Ano yun? For example, first approach, ito mali ito. Ano yung mga nakita mong maling approach ng opposite sex? Actually, hindi lang opposite sex, pati mga straight women sometimes hindi nila alam mag-approach sa mga transgenders or sa mga homosexuals themselves kasi talagang yung iba talaga walang exposure. That's the reality. Kung wala kang social circle like you, it's gonna be very hard for them. Kaya minsan ang nangyari, pag approach me po bigla, yun nga, sabi mo, does it get wet? So,
Oo nga eh.
I can imagine what if I were in your shoes, I don't know what would I have said to this particular person. So ano yung mga maling approaches na you've experienced na ginagawa minsan hindi lang ng mga Pinoy, pati ng mga foreigners when they approach people like you?
Ako I think yung pinaka I don't find it offensive, pero parang kasi yung question kasi na to nag-uugat na hindi mo muna alamin yung story, right? Like for example, tatanungin ko, di ba dati kang lalaki? So, so yun yung
dati? Anong ibig sabihin?
Oo, or yung di ba pinanganak kang lalaki, ganyan. So ako naman, for me kasi it nag-uugat kasi yon na yung hindi sila self-aware din sa sarili nila. So, usually lang binabalik ko yung sagot. Sabi ko, hindi, pinanganak akong baby.
Easy na sagot.
Meron ako, parang narinig ko yung joke about the mermaid and the father. Narinig mo na siguro yung joke na yun. No? Yung nilubog yung laki sa drum. Ikaw ba ay babae o lalaki? 10 beses.
Sirena. Hindi niya naging sirena.
Tapos sirena, di ba? Kasi pinipilit talaga.
Hindi, saka yung mga nakakaasar din kasi, di ba, for example, I grew up in the 90s, tapos meron dating kanta, ako naaalala yung Georgia. Tapos kakanta ng Georgia pag makikita ka. Tapos nung nagkaroon ng yung kanta ni, sino to comedian before, yung hindi ako bakla. Yung mga ganyan, yung mga ganyan.
Michael B, oo.
Si Michael B ba yan?
Michael B, meron pang isang kanta si Francis M naman, meron silang yung Bading ang Dating to the tune of Lauryn Hill's That Thing.
Hindi, saka si Blackjack, di ba, yung yung
meron.
About the big, I already forgot those.
Oo, pilak sa Blackjack. Oo, ganun, oo.
Pero talamak dati,
minsan parang tinanggap na ng tinanggap na ng community yung ganong klaseng pagtrato sa community. Ako ang exposure ko kasi sa LGBTQ, yung ang boss ng nanay ko is transgender talaga. So I grew up seeing gowns kasi yun ang ginagawa ng nanay ko, yung mga gowns, lahat ng mga everything about the fashion. So I've been exposed to that. Tapos mabait sa amin yung boss niya. They always give things from the fashion shop. Couturier, oo, couturier. Siyang master cutter doon. So na-expose ako sa ganyan. So to me, it's normal na nakita ko sila. Kaya lang, ang issue ko minsan is bakit ang community ay hindi sila tanggap as they are. Pero kasi si nanay ko, no problems. Every time na may mga problema yung
boss?
Sa community namin, siya ang laging nandoon. Anong problema? Sino yung binugbog? Ganyan kasi ang daming mga ganong kaso, yung mga binugbog, sinarahan, pinagsamantalahan, ganon ang mga nangyari. At the same time, kahit na gumagawa sila ng kanilang sariling role sa community, parang hindi ko maintindihan bakit ang community parang mayroong, hindi lang pandidiri parang ano ba tawag dito? parang they want nothing to do with the community of the transgenders and the transsexuals. Yun ang hindi ko maintindihan. Pero every time we eat, I mean, for example, right now, I'm wearing something a bit more flowery. I'm sure this is made by somebody of the homosexual or the LGBTQI community, which I know so much. Pero pagdating sa pagkain, tsaka sa hairdressing, tsaka sa mga binibili natin sa mga fashion shops, okay lang tayo. Pero pagdating sa harapan na, ba't ganun? Why can't we communicate? Yun.
I think kasi there are stereotypes, diba? Tapos we often relate sa mga tao based on stereotype. You know, I'm not saying that stereotypes do not exist, diba? They do exist, diba? Kaya nga, you know, and then oftentimes, na pag may nakita tayo nakapareho nung tao na meron na tayong stereotype na ganon, pinoproject natin dun sa ibang tao, diba? And I'm pretty sure some of those who may have bad experience in their lives, diba? Na involve someone coming from the LGBT community, and then pinoproject nila sa ibang tao yun, diba? Parang ganito rin. I'm pretty sure you experienced this as well in Singapore. Can you imagine? Na halimbawa Singaporean, na-encounter niyang Filipino is, diba, sabihin natin latak. Siyempre magpo-form din yun sa utak niya ng impression, and then when they encounter other Filipinos, parang meron na rin silang ganong something na
yung stereotype.
Oo. Pero
Yung
the stereotype is true. It's correct. Ang ano nga lang is kailangan natin magkaroon ng mga positive images na mas marami.
Pero yung sabi nga nung author na si Chimamanda Adichie, yung African girl, sabi niya, the problem with stereotype is hindi ito mali. Ang problema ng stereotype, you're only telling one side of the story and people believe it. Yun ang mali. So, I mean, kasama yun medyo, let's generalize it. Politika, relihiyon, social activities, communities, transsexuals, heterosexuals. Ang problema nun, pagka ang judgment mo is one side lang, alam mo lang yung isang side ng storya, hindi mo alam yung kabilang storya. Kasi yun ang tas ang ginagawa mo, ininalathala mo sa buong mundo na yun lang ang storya. Pero ang totoo nun, may kabilang storya. Yun ang
tama.
Malungkot kasi ang stereotype, sabi nga sa psychology, ang atin daw brain is made to stereotype. We make folders out of the psychological you make folders out of your beliefs, out of your gathered information, and you also have the power to change that stereotype. Ang tanong is, are you willing to? Yun lang. Are you willing to? Yun ang psychology doon, di ba?
Ayun nga, di ba? May mga syempre, alam mo yan, it's comfort zone kasi yung yung mga folders na yan sa utak eh. So, some people, don't want to get out of their comfort zone.
Teka, as we continue, ang ganda ng mga thoughts tsaka yung mga perceived opinions na. May tanong kanina, ikaw ba ay meron ka bang karelasyon ngayon? Naganda mong yan, ano ba naman? Tinatanong pa ba yan?
I'm not currently in a relationship right now kasi I just got out of an almost 9-year relationship in late 2018. So
gusto na madinig yan.
So second relationship.
Masakit pa ba? Sas, masakit pa ba?
No, kahit nung naghiwalay, wala namang kurot. Kasi, alam mo yun, kasi ako yung tipo ng tao na, while I'm in a relationship, I will fight for it. Alam mo yun, itotodo ko na kung masaktan ako, i-fight ko pa rin. Pero kung alam ko na it's time to give up, I will give up because I know that I already did my best. But my best isn't good enough, Char. So, ganon. So parang hindi siya yung kasi manghihinayang ka lang naman, you will only regret. For me kasi manghihinayang lang ko, I will only regret on things na alam kong hindi ko binigay yung all ko.
Iba ba ang tanong ko, Sass, iba ba yung pakiramdam ng transgenders, mga transsexuals pagdating sa relasyon kasi sa mga babae at saka lalaki karaniwan yung parang may naibigay ako, may nawala sa akin, and therefore it hurts so much, kailangan parang this is the end of life. Pareho ba yung nararamdaman nyo, especially when it comes to relationship? Pareho lang ba?
Oo
Wala bang
naman,
kaibahan?
oo naman. I
Mm.
think naman yung ganyang feeling is universal kahit naman kung
Oo.
sino ka, 'di ba? Na kung,
Oo.
kung nagmahal ka, kung nasaktan ka,
Hmm.
dudugo ka talaga, 'di ba?
Kanina
Na,
kasi
Yan.
kasi kanina may napanood ako sa GMA News Affair. Ang kwento ng buhay nila, yung isang lesbian na in love sa isang bakla.
trend.
Oo,
Mm.
tas nagkaanak sila.
Oo.
True story, nagkaanak sila. Tapos nagkahiwalay sila, pero kahit na nagkahiwalay sila, pareho pa rin silang supportive sa kanilang anak na may
Oh,
epilepsy,
that's good.
tsaka
Mm.
cerebral palsy. Pero hindi na sila magkasama. Pero yung bakla, in-erase niya talaga yung yung anak niya. Kasi talagang mahal na mahal niya yung anak niya. Actually, medyo
Mm.
mangyak ako na kanina kasi parang ang sakit naman kung kapatid yun, anong mararamdaman. Actually, ang ginawa
Mm.
ko, I put myself into the shoes of his family kasi talagang malungkot kasi may epilepsy yung bata, may cerebral palsy pa. Pero he raised him
Oo.
on his own.
Bigat.
Meron ba kayong mga ganung worries din, Sass? For example, halimbawa, kasi ni-research ko, ang sabi ng mga experts, ang problema minsan ng mga transsexuals tsaka transgenders, pagka yung tumatanda na sila, and a lot of times yung suicide rate, suicide, depression, anxiety, is much higher when you guys grow older. Tama ba? I-debunk mo nga kung ano naman yung opinion ko na form because of this research.
Well, I think kasi marami kasing people who grew up alone, di ba? Na
Mm.
some people got deserted by their family or friends. Ganyan. Ako naman, I don't have any worry pagdating sa ganon. Kasi nga, I've always been raised to be independent. Pero
Right.
syempre, iba pa rin naman na meron kang mahal by your
Oo.
bedside when you needed the most,
No.
di ba? Kaya nga nakikisimpatya ako sa pagkayumao ng ating dating Pangulo. No one was there with him. No loved one
That's
when
sad,
he
no?
died, di ba? Na parang, it's a very universal experience na the fear of dying alone and no one is
Is there
there for you
beside
to
you?
say goodbye to you. Di ba? Na parang,
Tama.
so I think it's a universal fear. Pero nga, syempre, some LGBT people, they don't have family who accept them. Tapos hindi rin sila nakapag-form ng loving and long-lasting relationship. So eventually, they die alone, and that's
Mm.
an understandable fear to have.
Meron pang tanong mamaya,
Oo.
pero diretso ba tayo? The
Actually,
sweetest thing
may
that your
tanong nga eh.
boyfriend has done to you.
Which
Teka lang.
one?
Teka lang. Balikan muna natin which one yan. Tama yan sa ano na yan. Which one?
Which
Nakailang
one?
boyfriend ka na ba, Sass?
Only two. Kasi hindi ako yung
Only two.
tao na who jumps from one relationship to another. I don't
Matagal.
believe. Matagal. Kasi my
Wow.
first relationship I was 17.
Yan.
I was 17. And then the sweetest thing that guy did to me, ang dami eh. Pero I think that the sweetest is yung, kasi there was a point na na-scandalize yung school. Na-scandalize yung school. Kasi we were both studying in an all-boys school, di ba?
Oh,
Kasi
di ba?
na-scandalize yung school. Syempre,
Wala ka
hindi,
pang highlights nun, ha? Wala ka pang highlights nun.
wala pa. Pero mahaba na yung hair ko.
Mahaba na. Oh, alright. Yan.
Tapos, and then, na-scandalize, and then, yung, kasi, hindi na nila ako hindi nila ako mabalahura kasi nga I was the president of the debate club. Diba? I was doing well in
Always know
school.
your sources.
Oo,
Always
ganyan,
know your
according to
sources.
the Constitution article,
Right,
ganyan.
ganon.
Ganyan ako na.
You
But-
can debate with me, but I know my facts. Ganon,
Tapos,
di ba?
and the parents kasi, yung family kasi nga, alam, they know, accepted, etc. And then, ang ginawa nila, parang they hit the yung advisor namin, they hit the mother, ng pinaka-painful na kasi sabi na, patingin daw sa psychiatrist yung boyfriend ko noon, baka nasisiraan na ng ulo. So, can you imagine if you were the mother, diba, na someone telling you that? So, nung parang pelikula ngayon nangyari. So, parang eksena sa Crazy Rich Asians.
Parang Masters of Sex. Alam mo yung Masters of Sex episode?
Ano pa layo naman ng Crazy Rich Asians sa Masters of Sex?
Kasi yung Masters of Sex Netflix, kasi ano yun eh, it's about an old person who's gay and he tries his best to be electrocuted to ensure that he's straight. Pero hindi talaga siya straight.
So, inaano siya na parang, patingin doon sa psychiatrist. Kasi nga, parang di ko rin understand kung bakit siya nakipagrelasyon sa akin. So, parang they always see something wrong with him. Na, kasi for both of us, it's just like an ordinary relationship between a boy and a girl. And then they couldn't understand it. Tapos yun, syempre nasaktan naman yung nanay, di ba? Tapos yun, nandun kami sa school. Kuhanan ng report card yun eh. Tapos nakita ko ng nanay, sabi sa akin, Sassy, mag-usap tayo. Mayayaman, di ba? Kasi mayaman kasi, di ba mayayaman? Sassy, mag-usap tayo. So, usap kami. Tapos sinabi sa akin ng nanay, sabi ko dun sa nanay niya na, I'm willing, parang pinaka-usapan sa kami na magkaibigan na lang kami. Kasi nga, kasi 4th year na kami, tapos natatakot siya for his son. Kasi nga kung ano mangyari. Kasi I was doing well in school, yung anak niya, medyo tagilid, ganyan. So sabi ko, okay, pero nakita niyo naman, nung simula na nagrelasyon kami, naging masipag na yung anak niyo mag-aral, ganyan. Alam mo yan? Tapos sabi ko sa kanya na, I'm willing to fight for this relationship, but I'm not willing to fight you. Because you are his mother. Tapos umalis ako, syempre yung boyfriend. Diba? Tapos yung boyfriend ko, sabi niya, nagprotesta siya. Sabi niya, Sassy, ganyan. Ako naman, listen to your mother. Ganyan. Tapos umalis ako. Tapos nung umalis ako, nakita ko na lang yung boyfriend ko, lumalapit, nakangiti. Sabi ko, baliw naman to? Anong nakangiti? Tapos ang sabi niya na, ang tinanong sabi ko, ano nangyari? Sabi niya, okay na. Sabi ko, paano okay na? Tinanong daw niya yung nanay niya na, anong ginawa mo nung ayaw ni Lola kay Papa? Tapos sabi daw ng nanay niya, pinaglaban ko yung Papa mo. Tapos sabi niya, anong gagawin? Anong sa tingin mo yung gagawin ko ngayon? So, di ba? Napang sweet.
Wow.
Parang MMK mix na pang-pamas.
Ganda.
Pang-pamas, ma'am. Ang ganda.
Oo. Tapos I think the second boyfriend, anong pinaka-sweet? Ang pinaka-sweet na ginawa niya sa akin is, yung nung nililigawan pa lang niya ako, parang second time, pauwi na ako, sa London kasi kami noon eh. So ito, 27 na ako. So can you imagine 10 years yung pagitan?
10 years?
Oo, 10 years. 27. Tapos, pauwi na ako na ng Pilipinas noon eh. Tapos, hindi niya alam kung pupuntahan niya ako sa London, ganyan, kasi nasa work. Right. Tapos, sinabi daw ng mga ka-work niya sa kanya na, puntahan mo na sa London, ganyan. Nasa siya, nasa ibang city ng UK. Iko-cover ka namin. So, pumunta siya ng London.
Yun na. Sumasakit ngipin ko.
Nahubaran ako.
Sumasakit ngipin ko.
Sobrang sweet.
Oo, sumasakit ngipin ko.
I'm kind of seeing a guy right now, and ito mas marami itong kasitwang ginawa. As in, walang katapusang kaswitan.
Pero ito, so sweet yun, di ba? Ito naman ang isang tanong ko. Ano yung mga katawa-tawa na pinaka-nakakatawa na nangyari sa buhay mo na ginawa ng nakadate mo or nakasama mo before na wala kang choice, talagang humalakha ka ng husto kasi ginawa nila ito for you? I mean, yung mga sweet.
Oh my God!
Ano yung mga nakakatawa talaga na hindi ka makapaniwala na nangyari ito? Sinabi sa'yo, ginawa sa'yo.
Yung first boyfriend, I think yung first boyfriend ko, siya, can you imagine, nakatira siya sa Paranaque. Tapos nag-aaral kami sa Menjola. Tapos ako, 5 minutes away from Menjola. Ang ginagawa niya sa akin talaga, sabi niya, susunduin daw niya ako everyday. Sabi ko, 5 minutes away pa lang naman ako sa...
Filipino talaga, no? Talagang yung kultura.
Oo, talaga mga
Filipino talaga, di ba? Yung kahit na
iba
madaming...
talaga mga Pilipinong magpa-sweetums, no?
20 aso, hahagarin ka, pero ihatid ka pa rin, no? Grabe.
Can you imagine, 5 minutes away lang ako. Sabi ko, so gigising talaga siya ng maaga, tapos susunduin niya ako sa bahay. Para nakalakad kami ng sabay. Sabi ko, baliw naman yung ganong konsepto.
Bukod doon sa may nagatid sa'yo, ano pa yung mga naranasan mo na katawa-tawa o parang hindi ka panipaniwala?
Hindi ka panipaniwala. Panipaniwala kasi karamihan. Char! Ay, hindi ko pa to boyfriend. Hindi ko pa to boyfriend. Pero kasi nga, itong lalaki to, nag-meet kami unexpectedly. Tapos, parang gusto ko umalis nung lugar. Tapos, recently lang yan na the revealing to Filipino ha, na
Mm.
para daw kasi gusto kong umalis nung bahay for it's a long story. Tapos sabi niya sa akin na yung pintuan daw niya, nilagyan daw niya ng parang something sa taas na para pag binuksan ko raw, pag mahulog, magigising daw siya para pigilan daw akong umalis. Sabi ko, oh my God. Sabi ko,
Umalis.
15 years old? Hindi naman kami 15, pareho naman kami nasa 30s, di ba? Parang 15 years old.
may nagtanong dito, how do you get over a breakup daw?
A breakup.
Oo. Kasi minsan akala ng mga tao, yung mga heterosexuals lang ang nakaka-feel ng breakup at minsan ang stereotype, hindi yan siguro nararamdaman ng mga transgender saka ng mga transsexual. So therefore, mas
Baka iba,
wala lang, parang matigas lang ang puso pagdating. Totoo ba yun? How do you get over that?
Ako yung first ko talaga yung pinakamahirap kong i-get over. Kasi first love di ba? Tapos kasi biglang natapos siya na I was in a very bad place in my life during that time. I really felt na I didn't do my best, and I felt na hindi ko napantayin yung pagmamahal niya. Ang drama, di ba?
Wow.
Yun talaga yung pinakamahirap kasi may guilt may guilt ako. Tapos nung nakita ko, nung nag-usap kami uli, after mga 28 na ako, tinanong ko sa kanya, siya pa yung nag-sorry. Sabi niya, I'm sorry, bigla na lang ako nawala. Sabi ko ganyan, punyeta ka. Sabi ko ganyan.
Di ba? Facebook naman tayo.
Sabi ko sa kanya na, akala ko ako may kasalanan. Ganyan. Sabi ko, tapos yun, sabi ko, 10 years ako na feeling ko ang guilt, ganyan. Sabi niya, hindi, ganyan. So parang nabunot yung tinek.
So
pero yung
closure, di ba?
Oo, nagkaroon ng closure. Pero kasi ako, so yun yung natutunan ko na kailangan ko ibigay yung best ko sa mga relasyon ko. Kaya kung mag-break kami, alam mo, kung mag-break kami, alam ko na kakayanin ko yung afterwards kasi I did my best. Alam mo yun?
Right.
Kaya I can easily
I did my best.
correct. Kantahin mo yun.
Yes.
My best wasn't good. Sass, we have another guest at about 10 o'clock in the evening. At tanong ko lang sa'yo, kasi pareho tayong educator. Is it hard to be an educator overseas with your kind of life? Especially as a transsexual, as a transgender, how do you stand for yourself and paano nung nasa Pilipinas ka rin? I think you started educating people also pamula nung nasa Maynila ka and now you're in the Netherlands. Paano mo in-stand yung sarili mo just in case some other people would like to do what you're doing right now as well?
Well, hindi naman ako nag-work as a teacher sa Philippines. So I work in different companies. And of course, nakaranas ako ng mga discrimination, yung hindi ka tinanggap sa trabaho, or yung job contract mo bigla na lang nag-evaporate. Alam mo yun, parang ano nangyari. Ganyan. Dito kasi, it's very different. Kasi nga merit-based yung pag-hire. Wala ngang wala ngang picture sa CV. Hindi nga allowed na may picture.
Walang age, no?
Walang age, walang ano. So, alam mo yon, it's very different. And I never experienced any untoward incident because I'm trans kahit sa kanong tinrabahuhan ko dito sa Netherlands. So, it really felt like living in the future. Alam mo yon. Oh, wow. Parang parang ganito. Kaya nga na it's very you would really thrive and blossom more kung enabling yung community sa pag-blossom at pag-thrive mo as a human person, as a productive human person.
Parang my dignity, tama ba? Mas more dignity yung. Pero ang tanong ko, so for example, if there are people who are in the Philippines right now and are experiencing yung discrimination, yung prejudice towards transsexuals,
bullying
bullying, yan. Anong masasabi mo sa kanila?
Fight back.
Ano advice mo?
Fight back. 'Di ba? You fight back the bully. Na in any way you can physically mo rin. 'Di ba? Kasi ako I was bullied as well as a child. Mga may nagtitis. I fought back. Diba? And eventually, naging friend ko yung bully. Kasi nga, you know,
When you say fight back, does it mean violently fight back with words, fight back the way a mature person would do? Anong klaseng fight back is what you would tell them?
obviously, if your physical integrity is at stake, you have to fight back. Diba?
Defense, parang self-defense.
Oo, defend yourself. Diba?
Self-defense.
Kung kinukulit-kulit ka, edi sumbong mo na kinukulit, inaano-ano ka. Tell your parents. Ako, hindi ko kasi masabi sa parents ko, busy sila eh. So, I did it on my own. I fought back, diba? Some people got physical. I got physical as well. Na, kasi later on, you know, iba kasi yung pinagtanggol mo yung sarili mo eh. Iba yung maging effect yan sa buhay mo pagdating ng panahon. Na you stood up for yourself.
Right. May problema kasi minsan dyan eh. For example, not just in the transgender community, kahit sa mga regular people lang, minsan yung mga nasa community mo, hindi rin nagsa-stand up for you. And by right, it should be in your community the first things and foremost na sila ang dapat mag-stand up for you. Pero karaniwan, pag may mga ganong trahedya, nobody dare stand up. Yun ang problema minsan sa sa ating society. Meron na nabalabag, nabalian na nga, tapos tinignan mo lang. Instead na tulungan mo, tinik mo pa ng picture, tsaka mo nilagay sa Instagram, yun pa tinulungan. And I think it's the same thing that's happening with the transgenders, no? Na nakita mo na inaagrabyado, pero sometimes yung stereotype tsaka prejudice, di bali, bakla naman yun eh, so for what? Ganon, di ba? May mga ganong attitude eh. Minsan, ang attitude hindi lang sa mga transgenders, kahit sa mga matatanda, matanda naman yun eh. Doesn't matter. So they're also what, you know, for, why should I do that? Yung ganong attitude ba? What can you tell about that kind of yung attitude karaniwan ng mga mamamayan when this happens?
I don't know. Ang dami-dami sa kanila na Christian daw sila pero they have already forgotten the values taught by the story of the Good Samaritan. Na why don't you reconnect to ako kasi even though that I no longer consider myself a Christian, the Christian faith is a huge part of my core kasi I was raised a Christian and it's part of our heritage as a people, diba? So why don't you really follow the teachings of your faith, diba? Diba? The Good Samaritan. So if someone needs help, give them help. Kailangan mo bang tanungin? Kung ano ba yung taong yan? If someone needs help,
help them. Help them. Yeah. Yun lang naman. Wala namang rule doon, di ba? Sabi nga ni Dalai Lama, pag nakita mo yung mga religion, iisa lang yun eh. Pag-asa, pag-ibig, pananampalataya, optimism, positivity. Pag yung religion mo ay the opposite of all of those, mag-exit ka na. Mag-exit ka na.
Or tanongin mo yung sarili mo if you are really following, you know, the essence of your religion.
Right.
Tama,
Sass,
religion, meron pa tayong question dito. If you will say something to your younger self, what will it be?
Ganda ng kilay mo.
Parang love letter to self, no?
Ano yung sabihin ko, ang ganda ng kilay mo. Hindi ko na magaya yung kilay ko ng bata ako. Sabi ko, ganda.
Hey, bakit hindi?
Ayan.
I can lend you my Sass,
Ayan, meron sa question. Sass, how tall are you?
163 centimeters.
Ilan yun?
5'3"?
5'7"?
5'4". 5'3", 5'4".
Kasing tangkad mo yung daughter ko.
Itit.
Right.
Wow.
Sass,
Bigat. What is your greatest downfall?
Greatest
downfall?
Okay, and do you call it even a downfall? Sometimes?
No, kasi wala naman kasi talagang downfall. Every fall is just a bounce, parang
Bouncing.
it's bouncing pad back
Stepping
to
stone.
Oo. I think the only downfall is patay ka na. Hindi na talaga makakasurvive pag matay ka na.
Says, binisita ko yung doktor namin here in Singapore at ang worry niya, minsan sabi niya, ang worry niya sa LGBTQI community minsan, in her case, sabi niya ang dami daw nagpa-check up sa kanya na may mga problema talaga kasi hindi nagpro-protect. Ito ba ay anong advice mo sa mga community natin, whether in Singapore, in the Philippines, or otherwise? Kasi karaniwan, even in Singapore, it's a known fact na may mga streets talaga where they all congregate every now and then. And it's a known fact kasi I think in the UN score, yung HIV/AIDS statistics ng Singapore ay hindi rin mababa, mataas din by the thousands also. Anong masasabi mo sa community natin na ganyan?
Go back to your core, di ba? Have some self-respect and having good sexual practices is a sign of self-respect. Ako maingat ako dyan. I have myself before nung active pa yung lifestyle ko. Na talagang meron talaga akong STI, HIV test even though I use protection.
Sabi ng Durex kasi, sa isang survey ng Durex sa Singapore, ang mga lalaki daw ang mas mababa when it comes to using protection. Mas magaling daw gumamit ang mga girls ng protection kaysa sa mga boys. Yun ang statistics ng Durex when I was reading about it. Ang problema nung sabi ng doktor sa amin, ang dami daw talagang mga klase na talagang obscure and extreme cases, especially in the LGBTQI community, which is very disappointing kasi buhay yun di ba? It's really about life.
Saka no glove, no love. Di ba? Na maghubad na kayo ng glove kung alam niyo na yung sexual health yung dalawa, di ba? And you're gonna be in a faithful relationship. Ayan.
Right.
Kahit wala nang kapote. Ilaban na si Batman.
Sass, I think what's something that you cannot live without?
Yan.
I cannot live without. Ano ba?
Live without you.
I cannot live without music. Yun na lang. I'm a huge music fan. At iba't ibang genre kasi yung childhood ko kasi is napakagulo pagdating sa music. Nanay ko, Frank Sinatra, mga ganyan. Isa kong kuya, panganay kong kuya, new wave. Isa kong kuya, grunge, saka metal. Isa kong kuya, new age music, saka trance music. Tapos yung ate ko, walang iba ginawa ko, Karen Carpenter. So talagang na-expose sa iba't ibang genre na it really, it actually music really helped me a lot in various ways. So that's something that I cannot live without.
Tsaka yung music talaga, especially during this pandemic, I think it's one major thing that makes us more sane and more humane in many ways, diba?
Correct.
Pag wala yun, talagang, I don't know what else. Mababaliw na
Totoo.
di ba? Sass,
Crazy now.
Plans for politics? Anything that you have planned? Will you be in public service? Alam mo, nung nagpunta ako ng Cagayan de Oro, I met a lot of the transgenders and transsexuals who actually led the relocation program sa Cagayan de Oro sa Misamis Oriental. I was really so moved by it kasi sila yung in charge ng feeding program, ng relocation program. They were leading the fight talaga, nakakatuwa. At sila yung nag-leading ko talaga sa bayan. At ang mga assistant nila is yung mga talagang maskulado na mga uncle sa Misamis. Walang batching of eyelid and they follow their lead, and I thought that was really amazing. If you have the chance to publicly serve, where would you be?
No, I don't think I cannot be a politician. I don't kasi you will lose a lot of your freedom when you become a politician. Ang kiriko pa ang kiriko pa naman. Parang it's not something that I see myself doing. I do not have that temperament that would make that's necessary for a good politician. It's not something that I would like to do. Siguro pwede ako maging consultant, ganyan, pero yung politician talaga na nandyan sa palagi.
Maybe like a communications officer or anything like that.
Hindi, siguro yung more in the background. Siguro yung mga consultative status.
Right. Innovation or whatnot.
Oo, kasi ang hirap kasing matay kasi lalo na sa Philippines kasi dito sa Netherlands I can see politicians having more freedom na you can see them drinking everywhere, you can see them partying, ganyan. in the
Oo.
Philippines, it's very hard to do that.
Hindi.
Tsaka yung cross-collaboration, very evident sa mga European countries. Eh. Yung kahit na
Mm.
you're
Yeah.
the labor movement or
Mm.
the right wing, yung collaboration very obvious sa atin. Ano kasi talagang ultra-partisan yung parang hindi pwedeng mag-meet in the middle. Pagka lang may party,
Mm.
tsaka karaoke,
Mm.
tsaka kainan, tsaka nagiging united, eh, di ba?
Mm.
Malungkot.
Next question. What is your highest achievement, Sass?
In terms of what? All kinds of achievement? Lahat ganyan?
Ano yung
proud-
pinakamataas?
yung-
Ano yung pinakamataas na achievement na you could say it is your highest achievement in your life?
Yan.
Right now, I think it's because I didn't really expect it to happen. Yung nagsalita ako sa United Nations when I became the first woman,
Nice.
the first woman of trans experience to address the UN General Assembly.
Right.
Hindi ko talaga siya I didn't really expect it. And kasi 2009 yan na, kasi nag-umpisa ako na activism sa Luneta. I was addressing homeless people, vendors, ganyan. Tapos biglang, di ba, nakita ko na lang yung sarili ko nasa UN na parang ang surreal. Huwag niyo naman pakita yung buong kwarto ko, ang dumi.
Okay lang, Sass. Normal
Sorry.
buhay yan. Lahat kami magulo yung namin.
Amin
So,
na
yeah.
magulo.
Sass, I know this is actually one
Ito
pride
yung
that
mo,
we
no?
are, ang ganda nung di ba? You're able to represent the Philippines and then naturally you're here already na you spoke in front of the UN. Ano yung pinaka heartwarming, unbelievable praise na na-receive mo from any of them when you were inside the UN?
Ako yung yung isang panelist, yung isa ring speaker dyan, taga-Uganda yun eh, I think it was Victor. Tapos nilapitan niya ako. Tapos sabi niya na, these people wouldn't change any policy. They don't have any power to change policy, ganyan. And I don't really expect na they would change policies after our panel. Pero sabi niya sa akin na, but anyone who would listen to your speech would think twice before they mistreat a trans person.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yun
So sabi
ang
ko talaga,
maganda.
so talaga ako.
That's the nice. Yeah.
Tapos eventually nagkaroon ng confirmation kasi I had a friend, hindi daw siya tanggap ng nanay niya or ng nanay niya. Tapos pinapanood niya yung speech ko. After daw panoorin yung speech ko, 180-degree turn na.
Nice.
Wow.
So suddenly, best friend na sila. Na
And
gano'n.
the good thing about that, Sass, is you did not just give this effect to the Philippines, but also to the whole wide world. Kasi yung message mo
Yes.
is not just for the Filipinos; it's for the whole wide world when you spoke about it. And whether people are accepting of your lifestyle of what you are is another thing altogether. But the idea that yung inclusivity is in the heart of the message. That I think is the most admirable thing. Kasi alam mo, whether we like it or not, there will be people, Christians, Muslims, other faith, na probably they will not like what you are or what you're doing. But that's sa akin, that's immaterial. Pero the moment they know, ang question kasi dun is, I always ask myself, as a father of 3 children, what happens if one of my daughters become or is a lesbian? Or maybe I had a son who's probably gay. What would I do? Na ako ay Kristiyano, kung ako ay Muslim, then what will I do? What will I do? Kasi siguro yung paniniwala ko because I was brought up as conservative, pero paano kung nangyari yun sa anak ko? Then what will I do? Will I disown? Will I curse? Will I hurt? Will I be violent? Will I segregate? Alam mo yung ganong questions kasi ang daming mga ganon na nangyayari sa mga transsexuals at saka sa mga transgenders where even in their own family, laging pinagtatawanan, hindi lang pinagtatawanan, sinesegregate, iba yung treatment, it becomes like the center of jokes or comedy. Parang in my head, parang I cannot accept that. Kasi I cannot even imagine what if my son or what if my daughter is like that? What shall I do as a real person, as a first and foremost, as a human being. Pangalawa na lang yung religion eh. Yung panguna is, as a human being, what will I do? Yun ang naiisip ko lagi. Yun ang nasa akin.
Question tayo. One of the life lessons in life you have learned and you want to share, ano bang pwede mo ma-share, Sass?
Life lessons? I think yung talaga, you have to have a strong core, but you must have a soft heart. na kailangan buo yung core mo na you know your values, you know your boundaries, you know who you are. You have a sense of purpose
Right.
in your life. It doesn't matter kung ano yung purpose na yun. Pero
Right.
you should also have a soft heart na
Right.
even though that you are strong inside. Now, when you
Right.
relate with other people, you must relate to them authentically, genuinely, warmly.
Yeah.
Na walang lokohan, walang
Be a human being, parang gano'n, di ba?
Yeah, more human.
Oo. Says, if you want sana may promote natin, let's, you have a lot of followers in Singapore right here. Maybe you want to tell them where they can follow you both on any social media platforms. What can they remember? What should they remember? Para lalo nang they can still follow your, maganda yung opinion mo tsaka yung mga perspectives mo sa buhay. Whether they believe or go along with it is another thing, but just to be heard, where can they follow you?
Well, pag political views kasi, I really segregated it dun sa page ko po, yung For the Motherland. Yan, Facebook page. There are other viewpoints doon sa personal page ko, yung Sass Rogando Sasot. So, ayun lang.
Sass Rogando Sasot. Right?
Yeah, Sasot.
Sasot. For the love of the motherland. Tama ba?
For the Motherland lang.
For the
Haba
motherland. Haba naman. For the motherland. Okay. Nasa Facebook ito. Are you also in Instagram?
No, wala akong Instagram.
So Facebook lang. For the motherland. Okay. For the
Facebook lang.
motherland.
Facebook.
Sass Rogando Sasot. Sass, maganda. Maganda yung puso mo. Maganda ka. Ang dami nagsasabi kung gaano kakaganda sa ating mga Facebook posts right here. May mga question na hindi natin sinabi kasi minsan iba yung nandun, pero ang daming nag-praise. And again, ang ganda ng mga natutunan ko rin just listening to you and watching you on Facebook na maganda yung nandun ka sa gitna pero alam mo rin yung pinaninindigan mo sa kaliwat kanan. That's actually something na I really admire about you. At sana magpatuloy ka. Turuan mo yung mga taga-Europeans what Asia is all about, and tell them about the Pinoy love train,
Di ba? Hindi lang tayo tatanong. Sabi nga, itayo daw ang bandera ng Pilipinas kahit saan pa yan. Sa boardroom, sa kama.
Kahit saan.
Kahit saan, itayo nyo ang bandera ng Pilipinas.
At sabihin, Pinoy ako. Thanks, Sass. Thank you so much. Okay? Pagpalain ka at sana we can get in touch with you again if you have any questions about things that you do at update us on your ongoings as well sa mga progress mo pati sa Netherlands. Paano bang magsabi ng hello and goodbye sa Netherlands? Yun na.
Dag. Hello is hello. Hello.
Hello.
Goodbye is da. Da. Depende kung ano gusto mong sabihin.
Okay. How do you say I love you? How do you say I love you?
Ikaw vanyaw.
Ikaw?
Parang Tagalog.
Ikaw vanyaw.
Ikaw vanyaw.
Ikaw banyaw.
Yes.
Ikaw banyaw.
Parang ikaw banyaw.
Hindi ikaw banyaw.
Oh, ikaw banyaw.
Hindi ikaw banyaw. Iba yung banyaw, ha? Lahi sa...
Ikaw banyaw.
Nagbulahan na.
Ikaw banyaw.
God bless. At sana huwag mo kalimutan. Huwag mong kalimutan ang yung love for the motherland. And hope to see you again, catch you here on FIS. Watching you also, we gotta come. Yeah.
Pag dumapo ako ng Singapore, ilibot niya ako.
Yes.
Ilibot niya ako na I wanna eat the best food in Singapore.
Sishabog tayo, no? Ano yan si Jeff G?
Kakain yan.
Kain tayo. Tataba ka.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you. Sass Rogando Sasot. Ayun. And we're going to be, we're just so blessed to have Sass, from the Netherlands. Our next guest is another one who takes pride of the Pride celebration in Singapore, and we will be talking to him momentarily. We'll be having a little break. But before that, meron kaming contest. Ayun. If you're watching us anywhere in Singapore, you have to be in Singapore in order for you to win one of two vouchers coming from Max's Fried Chicken.
$20.
Singapore. We have two of these vouchers.
Yes.
Ang kailangan nyo lang gawin ay i-text sa ating comment sa baba. Siguraduhin nyo na i-share nyo, you share your own name, i-public nyo po, i-share nyo yung settings ng name nyo, and text yung comment sa baba, i-text nyo yung Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. Mahaba, no? Again,
Yan.
i-text nyo po, Max's Fried Chicken,
Max Fried-
sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza.
Far East
I-text nyo
Plaza.
po. Text it in the comments below. Text it in the comments below. Send it right now. And make sure i-share nyo po yung public profile, yung settings nyo po, i-public nyo po para makita namin yung mga pangalan nyo. At the end of this program, 2 people will win one of $20 cash voucher, food voucher from Max's Fried Chicken. Again po, text from the comments below. Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. Yan. Go! I-text nyo na. Text it now. We're crossing over to another place in Singapore. I don't know where actually Josh is staying from, but we have a DJ from Kiss 92 who will be we'll be talking more about him and what he's doing already right here in Singapore in the next couple of seconds right here on FISTalk. Super Mario with Jeff G coming back to you with Joshua Simon.
All right.
We are here in Orchard, Singapore. We're walking a bit to Far East Plaza to check out the new Max's restaurant. Let's go.
Max Restaurant began in 1945 in the Philippines just after World War II. Max Jimenez befriended American GI troops who misses fried chicken back in America. Max opened a cafe with Ruby Trota, who then created a special recipe for the chicken that became a hit for the GIs and the Filipino public. That is when Max Restaurant was born.
I'm the grandson of Max Jimenez, one of the founders of Max's Restaurant. I grew up with the brand, been involved in the business one way or another since the day I was born.
During your childhood, what do you remember most about Max's restaurant?
Probably my most vivid memory would be trying to go to sleep as a 2-year-old upstairs from the restaurant with about 1,200 people in a party, a wedding or a birthday, lots of big parties at our restaurant.
Mm-hmm. You remember the food?
Of course, I remember the food. I was eating it 3 times a day, and delicious food, and people are still coming back for that.
Are you using the same recipe since 1945?
The chicken recipe is the original recipe, and it's well loved all over the world. The other recipes, we have some new products coming in online, keeping up with the modern times, but the original chicken recipe is the same.
Singapore is your first Max's restaurant outside the Philippines within Asia. May we know what's the reason behind choosing Singapore?
We saw a big market need in Singapore. There's a lot of Filipinos here, and I think they want a taste of home. So we brought it here. It's a good choice.
Actually, we're very excited having Max's here in Singapore. What is the must-try food here in Max's restaurant, especially for locals and foreigners?
Well, besides the flagship product, our chicken, I would say kare-kare, crispy pata, pansit, halo-halo. Those are all excellent choices for people who want to explore Filipino food at its best.
What is your personal favorite?
Well, obviously chicken is my favorite, but I'd say crispy pata is right up there. It's one of my favorite indulgences.
Yes, me too. Say sarap to the bones in Singaporean accent.
Sarap to the bones la!
All right. We're back.
Man, listen, we're
Sarap.
back on FIS. Jeff G together with Super Mario right here. FIS Talk, FISTalk, $20 food vouchers. We got two of them for you. Now, all you have to do is put on the comments below because one of you will be winning this, okay? What you need to do is very simple, okay? Put on the comments below this particular passphrase, okay? Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. Again, Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. Simple as that. All you have to do, text, make your comments on the comments below on our Facebook page right now, FIS Talk, and you could be one of two lucky winners with this $20 food voucher. Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones. And in case
Sarap.
my friend Joshua may not know what sarap means, but maybe he does.
Said-
Sarap means delicious, right? Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome one of the, I would say, this is like my old child in that sense. I know I'm older in that sense, but I could really be his father in that sense. Let's welcome from Kiss 92, all the great songs in one place. All the great songs in one place. Kiss 92 DJ, Joshua Simon! Yay!
All right,
Hey.
man.
Joshua Simon,
Good evening.
respect. How are you doing, bro?
I need that Max's Fried Chicken.
I can see, while we were actually, he was on the background.
Get
studio while
it, get
we
it,
were,
bro.
I can see Joshua like almost like salivating. He was like, and I know, I know Joshua's appetite from his very very young and tender age until now. As far as I know, it has never changed. Whether he has lost weight or whatnot is another thing. But as Joshua Simon is a mixed race, I cannot imagine what kind of appetite he has, and I've seen it in my own entire. He's got one very favorite food that I know, kaki fuyong.
Kaki
Japanese.
fuyong.
I think just by
Japanese.
saying that, just by saying that too, I can already see some saliva coming out of
Crab
kaki
egg, right?
at me and
No.
Polytechnic.
It's like rice with like a fried chicken or fried pork, and then you've got an egg that cracks over it, and it's like a sweet syrup around it as well. So it's like sweet and savory, and
Yeah.
it's fluffy and delicious and
It's,
crispy. It's so good.
it's like steroids in a cheap mood, but it just is so nice, especially if you're a student. Josh, how you doing, bro? What's up?
I'm good. I feel a bit woozy today because I just got my vaccination yesterday. I got my Pfizer on my left side of my arm, and now my left foot hurts.
It's
And then
having problems.
the left side of my neck aches as well. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I think I hear that's a good thing. I hear that if you feel like some body aches, then that's like a positive sign that you're acclimating.
It's
right?
working.
You're gonna have a good Instagram headline right now. Legally drugged in Singapore. Vaccination 2.0.
Legal way.
Contrary to maybe not a lot of people know who are actually listening to us because we're in the thousands of Filipino community in Singapore. Joshua Simon is the Kiss 92 FM DJ and was also from 91.3 FM. And a DJ who has spoken to too many people, Ryan Reynolds, my gosh, Katy Perry, you
Katy
name it.
Perry.
I think Spider-Man, I don't know how many Spider-Mans you've interviewed. And naturally, that big break together with Hugh Jackman that you were able to sing together with the cast of, I forgot the movie, but it's
Greatest Showman.
There you go.
The Greatest-
right?
Greatest Showman, yeah.
The Greatest Showman, and just that particular experience that you have, Josh. You are probably almost going to your 30s now, right? Am I correct to say that? Going to not yet. Going. Did you just? Don't worry. You look like 26 to me still. You never age. Okay, that's in my
I just
heart.
turned 31.
There you go. I don't. To me, you're just still a 19, 18-year-old kid. It has never changed. As a teacher, that's what we are. Everybody who meets, he's just 20, 19, still the same, never changed. Josh, did you ever think that you'd be able to somehow, I would say, among all the people you have met in your school, I would say I would put you in my top 5 list of people who've been really successful in what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Did you ever think you're gonna get into this part of your life at all?
I'm so distracted by look at that hair that I had. That like
That
white
is you
hair.
together with Zac Efron, right? Zac
Yeah. Oh
Efron
my
and
god.
Zac
yeah,
Efron.
Zendaya. Yeah.
Zendaya, yeah, from The
Yeah.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah. Your question was, did I ever think I would be somewhat successful in life?
Where you are right now, did you ever think that you'd reach this? Looking back from where you were before.
Wow. To be perfectly honest, I would say yes. Yes. Let me clarify. Let me clarify. Right. I think for me, for a very long time, it was if I like something, if I feel passionate about something, it wasn't something that was that I would then meet a lot of support and encouragement from people, right? It was
Mm,
always something that I had to fight for. I had to sort of
right. Mm,
prove to everyone that I'm not kidding around.
yeah.
Like I really want to sing, I want to
Mm.
dance, I want to write, I want
Mm,
to act, I want to do it all, and I can do it all because I could feel that I could feel that I could do it, right? I could feel like I could be
right.
part of this world. But it took a lot of convincing, consistent convincing throughout my entire career. So when you ask me, like, did I ever think that I could do it? I knew from the start that I could. Did I know that
Mm,
I was going to do what I'm doing now and all
mm,
the different people that I would meet, all that? No, absolutely not. I did
yeah.
not predict these things, but I just knew that I could do this and I would be
Right.
happy doing this. And
Yep.
that to me is what equates to sort of success. Just
Right.
being able to create.
A little bit of background, Jeff, with Joshua. Joshua was actually scared of me at first. When we first met, Joshua was actually
Why?
scared. He was really scared of me. And he was in my studio. He was in my studio, and I was just trying to clear up, getting to start my work. And he was just wearing this shorty shorts that Josh is almost like a 6 footer. What's your height again,
I'm like
Josh? You're
185, 186, so it's about
That's
6 foot.
how tall he is,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
And so when he was in my studio, like, who's this tall man, so loud, and wearing shorty shorts in a 16-degree studio, right? With slippers, not even shoes, slippers on, right? And how could you survive a studio like that? But his first thought to me was like, can you tell me, Josh? His first thought was, be honest.
I genuinely thought he was gonna scold me and ask me to leave because he also looks like a gangster. He looks like he looks like someone who would beat you up and then like not just report you to the principal, but like beat you up first. So I was genuinely terrified of him. And I still tell everyone how scared I was.
Look into my eyes.
And
And
after all these years of getting to know Mario, I will say I was right. He is exactly
You're still scared.
and then when I actually saw him, I said, do you want to be DJ? I said, you want to be a DJ? And then he said, well, how? I said, join my gang. And it all started from there, isn't it, Josh? From there, they started
yeah.
doing stuff,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I always attribute everything to you, and I've never sort of held back when saying that because it's 100% true. Like earlier on when I said that throughout my whole life, it was a lot of convincing people that I deserve to be in the room.
Mm,
I did
mm,
not have to convince Mario. He was one of those people where, and there were many people in my life who. Okay, I wouldn't say many. There were specific people in my life and very important people in my life who saw me as me, completely got it. I didn't need to explain anything. He's just like, I'm not even going to ask anything from you. I just know what you can do, and I'm going to do what I can to help you achieve that goal. And these are sort of the good Samaritans or the people that just like I hold very, very dear to me. And Mario is one of those people. Like, he immediately saw me, and he's the reason why I ended up going to audition for a radio station, because he literally texted me. He was like, they're looking for a place, you should try it out. Right? What teacher
wow.
does that? Right? He has no obligation
Of
to do
course.
it. He doesn't get paid extra to do it. And I think at that time you weren't even working in the same school
mm,
anymore, because this was
Mm.
after I came out of the
mm,
army, 2
yeah.
years in the military, and he just said, oh, this radio station happens to be looking, and I thought of you, why don't you give it a shot?
Mm.
And I did, and I got the role, and I've been in radio for going 10 years now.
Nice. 10 years.
Wow.
Long
Yeah.
service award, bro. Long service
Congrats.
award. Josh, we're celebrating Pride Month, and if you don't mind me going through this particular chapter of your life, you and Katy Perry had something in common, and this is something that
Yeah.
you've never really opened up to a lot of people, but you've shared this. Katy Perry's dad is a
Mm.
pastor, Your dad is also a preacher, as far as I know. Can you tell us a little bit of this?
Yeah, it's still tough. It's still tough. I think for me, sort of in a nutshell, my growing up experience was a little bit bizarre. I was a big nerd, but all the things that I love had was only connected to church. So I was part of a Bible Presbyterian church, which is also really focused on the Old Testament, very, very strict, hymns only, no guitars with electricity. But that was my world as a child. Everything was from that. Every movie that I watched was from the church library. Every song and artist that I listened to was from the church library or was a hymn. Every cartoon that I watched was about the different disciples of Jesus. So that was all I knew for a big chunk of my childhood. But I also have an uncle who is that cool uncle that I think all of us have, that cool uncle where he will let you listen to Mariah Carey and AC/DC and Whitney Houston and for some
That's
reason
like that's like two upstrings. Yeah, the other one's like the other one.
Exactly. It's like he would just like give me everything secretly. So he was that person for me. And I think growing up, I was so blown away by this other side of the world that was, I mean, the word that they use is secular, right? And there's this like whole other side of the world that I was not exposed to, that I was told is taboo and dangerous and sinful and all these things. But I found so much artistry and love and I just absolutely adored this. So I fell in love with pop culture. And then that started the whole years and years of rebellion. I think it's a lot of rebelling and trying to convince people that I'm not just rebelling for the sake of it. It's because I do see something brilliant in it and I also see myself in it. So it's been tough, and it still is in many ways still tough. I think the moment you put anything that is sort of controversial or something that is so inherently linked to religion and you put it in a bottle and shake it, I think sexuality and religion in a bottle and shaking it is always going to be kind of scary. You don't know how people are going to perceive it, and then furthermore you have the proximity of that person being part of family, right? So that's always a tricky thing to navigate.
Right. When you started really opening up about your life, not just in the media but also in the public right here in Singapore, what came to your thoughts in order for you to like really fully open up about you? Because right now I know that you have a podcast in Singapore that talks about homosexuality among other things. I think you're co-hosting it with two other people. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I produced a podcast in November called the SG Boys. It's an LGBTQ plus themed podcast that we decided to take a big step and launch. It was just one of those moments where I have, for the past couple of years, benefited from really incredible podcasts that have saved my life. I would attribute it to, say, Oprah Super Soul Sunday Conversations, reading Eckhart Tolle, and Brene Brown, and I was in that place where I was hungry for knowledge, hungry for insight on how the world works or how I work. I was confused with my identity. I was confused with the concept of right and wrong as well as righteous, because I think that's the other thing about Christians, right? It's like when you're I wouldn't just say Christians. I think with any kind of religion, there is a level of right and wrong from society, and then there is righteous according to what your religion deems as the right thing to do, right? So I was trying to sort of navigate that fork in the road, and I thought, if I am going to do a podcast, I want to do a podcast on something that I thought I wasn't able to do, I was holding myself back from. And I realized that something as simple and pure and beautiful as saying I went on a date has been viewed by the people around me for so long as a shameful thing, that I ought to be ashamed of feeling happy, of feeling joy, of feeling love and adoration and attraction. And all these things are then immediately viewed with the worst thing, which is sin, right? Which is viewed as you are committing something wrong for feeling something that's natural to you. And if I were to take that away from people who are heterosexual, if I were to tell them that you're not allowed to fall in love with this person, you're not allowed to kiss in public, you're not allowed to hold hands, that the love that you feel is wrong, even though it feels right to you, that's going to completely like change the world, right? But my world has always been this way, and it's not just me, it's millions of people around the world through decades of time, where we have always been here. And I think the perception is that there is one gay person, that there's one person who's that weird one, and the truth is, all of us have all these different nuances to our personality, to the way we love, the way we express ourselves, to who we are. And I think right now, even with the conversations on gender identity, and how there's LGBT now Q plus, and that's growing, the discussion for our pronouns that we identify with, all that is happening right now.
There, right? Yeah, which happening all with Demi Lovato, who somehow, in one way or the other, fought that to be at the front of her case, so to speak. Right.
Yeah. So there are a few people who have been in the public eye for a while now. I think notably Sam Smith, Demi Lovato as well. And it must have been a huge leap of faith for them, and risk as well for their careers. But it is, you would think, right, with someone who is a Grammy winner and has all this money as well, that they had to think twice about even living the life that they actually are, right? So I think sort of back to the podcast, I knew that going in, I wanted it to be something positive. I wanted something that is very wholesome, that anyone can listen to, even people who don't agree with me, people who have different values. You're very much welcome to sit in and join the discussion. We have contrasting views regardless of race, religion, sexuality, gender identity. All of us are supposed to have unique views. And
I think Josh, the other problem that we have, especially with podcasts from gays, the perception and prejudice and stereotype is everything that people are talking about on gay podcasts is about being gay, or anything about sexual relationships. I think that has to be debunked. Could you explain that further to us?
Well, I mean, I won't speak for other people's podcasts. I think anyone, if they are willing to take on the microphone and learn to hone that responsibility of the power of the mic, that is sort of up to them to curate what they want to put across to the world. I think the podcast is very much a reflection of where I am in my life and who I am now. And so I can only speak for what we do on the podcast. I wouldn't want to knock anyone. Look, some people view sex as something that's a very vulgar thing, and I think the law system in Singapore with 377A reduces homosexuality to just sex, which is sort of a very carnal, vulgar, taboo, gross thing, right? Because I mean, the actual law that we have in Singapore is Section 377A criminalizes sex between men in public or in private, and in the actual sort of there are audio recordings where they really just reduce it down to sort of the most disgusting, inhumane kind of thing. And even though it only affects sort of one group of people in the LGBTQ plus spectrum, there's so many trickle down effects that affect people across transgender people, lesbians, even sort of the gray area of no positive portrayals of LGBTQ plus people in the IMDA. So we don't have any LGBT content on free to air programming and no positive portrayals. So there are a whole bunch of trickle down effects in gray areas that we live in at the moment, unfortunately. And back to sort of what your point was about podcasts, right? Mario, you and I came up at a time where you have to audition to have a mic in front of you. You have to convince someone that I'm worthy of picking up the microphone. And the brilliant but also daunting task today is that if you can build your own platform, like what you're doing right now. You have your own show. You can buy microphones. You can grow your audience. And I don't take that lightly. I take that with responsibility. I'm very careful about what we put across. I'm very careful about the conversations that we have and the kind of people that we want to join in the conversation as well.
Right. Joshua, there's somebody by the name of Liana Alexa saying, "Hi, Joshua. I'm one of your fans. So good to see you here on FIS." That's very good. Somebody just saying hi to you. So there you go. You got some Filipino followers as well in the community. Just saying hi to you right here in this. That's so cool. Josh, I want to ask you. It's 2021, but still, I see a lot of prejudices, stereotype about transgenders, transsexuals, LGBTQ altogether. If there's somebody who's listening to us and is really knowing that there's something that is igniting within him or within her, but she doesn't know what to do. What should she do? What should he do at this point in time in his or her life? I mean, Jeffrey and I, we cannot lie to anybody. I mean, we have kids and whatnot, and as far as we know, we are just straight as we are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens if there are people who are not really sure about this, and what should they do?
Well, I think we have the privilege right now in this time to find the resources to realize that we are not alone. And that goes across the spectrum, even away from LGBT, right? If you feel something about yourself and you want to understand something about yourself and you want to grow your understanding of yourself, you can actually go out and look for resources, and it would be readily available for you. We have the privilege of the internet. We have the privilege of I would even say something as recent as social groups starting on Facebook. There is a social group right now called Out in SG, and it's a Facebook group of people who say, instead of clubbing, instead of meeting at a gay bar, why don't we all just go and cook together? Why don't we play video games together? Why don't we all go watch a movie together? Why don't we have a picnic? Let's go work out together. So there's starting to be these kind of very healthy social interaction here in the LGBTQ plus community available for us, where for a long time, if you feel when you're sort of coming to terms with who you are, with your sexuality, you don't really have anyone to talk to, or you have that one friend who also may be sort of misinformed and on their own journey of understanding themselves. So it can be very alienating for people. The amount of people talking about loneliness, depression, suicidal ideation, anxiety within the LGBTQ plus community is ridiculous. I think there was a recent statistic from a study that said that LGBTQ plus people who are living in a country where they do not have their rights have a 5-year less life expectancy than everyone else. It's just the amount
I've heard of that. I heard it. Yeah, I've heard of that. Josh, if I need, I'm not sure if you can verify with me. I try to do my research right here, and there's a couple of places where LGBTQ plus people could go to when they would need help. I'm not sure if you can verify that with me. I don't know if you've heard of this. Ugachaga, heard of that?
Yeah.
Ugachaga, near the Sri Mariamman Temple. I think their number is 6226-2002, 6226-2002. They offer counseling services for the LGBTQ plus community. The other one is the Pelangi Pride Center, which is a community center. They have a private library that carries thousands of LGBTQ books, including local books. Have you been to the Pelangi Pride Center?
I haven't. I've actually been in touch with a couple of other groups that I'm also starting to learn about. There's one called Heckin Unicorn. They're big on Instagram. They make pins that you can buy, and it's in discreet packaging. And it's just sort of that first step for you to acknowledge who you are and affirm your identity and your sexuality, and something to sort of take charge and pride in who you are. So little things like pins, little things like I bought a recent pride flag as a face mask from Prout. So Prout is another great social group, and they have queer trivia nights. There are many great organizations that you can just easily reach through Instagram, and find your tribe, find your family. I think that, back to your question earlier, the first step is just realizing that you are beautiful and that you are loved and you are very much worthy of love and adoration, even if
nothing more, nothing less. You deserve that love.
Exactly. You absolutely do, regardless of what you've been through. So regardless of how many doors have been shut, regardless of how many people who've made fun of you, you are absolutely loved and worthy of love. I think that's the first lesson, and it might also be the hardest lesson to teach someone when for so many years you're being rejected over and over again.
Right. I want to
Yeah.
ask you, Josh. There was something that AOC, Alexandra Ocasio Cortez in America, who actually took the, I think, Instagram and Twitter, when she said something like, "This week's guilty pleasure watching Representative Jayapal go down the list to expose phony corporate pride rebrands with how much money they've given to fund anti-LGBT plus politicians." And she was quoted as saying,
Wow.
"Remember, just because a company slapped on a rainbow flag doesn't mean that they support the LGBT plus community." What do you say to that?
That is a really interesting conversation that we're having right now on performative allyship or rainbow washing or pink washing, where the cool, and I always go back to this quote from Billy Porter, which is, "It is very easy to be you when who you are is popular."
Right.
When who you are is at the center of the conversation, when who you are is being celebrated right now, it is very easy to be you. And it's also very easy for you to be targeted by people who, on the surface, want to support you when really it is a PR campaign. Now, we have had these conversations amongst ourselves in the different social groups, from my side being sort of part of the podcast and reaching out to different organizations. How do we then navigate when a company says, "Hey, I want to support you for Pride Month, and I want to send you guys some apparel, some products. I would love to feature you and share your platform." We don't say yes immediately. I think it always takes a level of research and trying to understand as well, beyond the PR campaign or beyond what we're going to be doing together for this month, what will you be doing for the rest of the year?
Yeah.
And how will you respond when you face backlash?
Right.
And then also, are you hiring people in your company that is LGBTQ plus, and are you allowing them to be themselves, to affirm their sexuality and their gender identity? Or is it something that is still hush hush and you're only just gonna slap a rainbow flag onto a jersey and sell it? So there are various sort of points to this. But I think for me, I'm a little bit kinder. I would say I'm a little bit kinder because I think when you gave your example earlier, I think of this Adidas jersey that I just received from a really good friend of mine. And he is a straight man, cisgendered, and he bought me this Adidas Love Unites Pride jersey. And it's my first ever jersey because I don't play sports and I don't care about sports. But also, every person who's bullied me since I was a teenager was linked to sports. It was either a basketballer, a rugby player, a football player. So in my mind, I have no business going to an Adidas shop. So when he gave me that jersey, it meant a lot to me because it was finally reclaiming that sort of energy. And and I love it. But I also know that Adidas have outlets in countries with very poor LGBT rights, and Adidas have also sort of funded there was this big event that they funded as well that is sort of linked to Russia, and Russia is one of those countries with very, very poor LGBT rights. So we can have all these conversations and we can try to trace all these things and try to find that thing that makes us go, no, we don't want to work with you. But I think the only way to move forward is for us to work together and for us to explain how allyship can be really useful, and it is a really powerful thing, allyship. And I don't want to sort of encourage the culture of, if you can't get educated on something or if you can't figure it out on your own before you come to me, then I'm not going to want to work with you, because then you're going to have a lot of companies who are going to be like, it's too complicated, I rather not. Right.
John, in your life, in the LGBT life, so to speak, plus, how do you stand up to the bully? I mean, you and I, we've never really spoken deeply about this, but I'm all right. I mean, you've seen me inside and out. How would you stand up to the bully? How do you stand up to the bully?
That is a fantastic question that I'm literally in my life right now trying to figure out an answer to. Because before, when it actually came to growing up, I did not stand up to my bullies. Where I have this thing where I will freeze and be in a total state of shock and I cannot do anything, and then go into a state of anxiety for about 3 weeks. So that is me. And from that state of anxiety becomes PTSD for the rest of my life. So that is how
Right.
I've been sort of my relationship with bullies have been this way, where it's completely passive and I'm completely broken down. And then I thought, whoa, actually, if I could go back to school, I would hit back. I would punch back. I would do everything I could. I would stand. Even if I'm bloodied up, I will do it because that to me is courage. But I'm also now at that place in my life where I've realized that I don't get any satisfaction from hitting back. I get satisfaction from putting my foot down and speaking for myself without requiring to convince you otherwise. You can believe whatever you want to believe because this is your life. But the moment you walk up to my space and you try to be like that to me and you try to take something away from me or you try to hurt me, I will put my foot down and tell you this is my space. And I deserve to have a space and a seat at this table. So I'm learning to confront the bully by speaking to them and also showing a level of compassion to try to understand. I'll share one quick thing. As a video gamer, I've learned a lot of things. I love gaming, and the
you learn swearing after playing video games a lot.
Well, that's absolutely true as well. But like, I'm a big gamer, and I think the perception is that you don't learn anything from gaming, but I really have. And one big thing that I've learned is, in order for you to fight the monster, you have to understand how the monster works. You have to understand where is his weak spot. You have to understand what created this monster. And that is where I'm at right now. When it comes to homophobes, when it comes to racists, when it comes to any kind of person that causes hurt, some might disagree with me, but I am challenging myself to spend time to understand the other monster, the machine that created this, or the machine that created the monster. I'm trying to understand what led to this person thinking and living their lives this way.
You know, a lot of mothers are listening to us right now, Josh. A lot of mothers.
Oh, really?
A majority of the listeners right now in Singapore, I would say, are mothers, especially this page. A lot of women.
Okay.
What would you tell them if they're confused or they don't know what to do if they found out that their kids are actually gay or homosexual or lesbians? Because they're very far away from them. And I can assure you this problem is one thing that they didn't know how to battle because what would you tell them?
Very simple. Tell them that you see them, tell them that you hear them, and that you want to continue to see and hear them. And that is it. That is it. And that is all we ever want. And as mothers as well, we want, I can't say I'm not a mother, but I would imagine mothers want to be seen and they want to be heard as well. Right. And children want to be seen and they want to be heard. But the moment we start accusing them or belittling them or hurting them or jumping into conclusions and speaking on their behalf and telling them this is how it's going to work, you're not seeing them, you're not hearing them, right? So I think it's important to see who you're talking to and tell them that I see you as a person and I want to hear you. And that's it. And that will dismantle a lot of sort of impulse to hurt, to try to force your beliefs on other people. I think the first step and the only thing anyone on earth ever wants to feel is to be seen and to be heard.
Josh, you are a DJ.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
How do you handle your pain? How do you heal yourself?
I have a couple of things that I do. I think for a period of time I would struggle with bad days because bad days will come even when I'm having a good day. The next moment will be a bad day. I think one great thing for me, and is a great tip I can share with everyone that's been very useful for me, is to rate how you're feeling. So when I wake up in the morning, out of 10, I would rate how I'm feeling. So if I'm a 5, I woke up today and I'm a 5. Whether I'm anxious or I'm hungry or whatever, ask myself, what are the things that I can do to move myself from 5 to 6? So if I need to drink water, would that make me go up to a 6? Let me try that. If I go for a run right now, will that move me from 5 to 6? If I play that song that I like listening to that always makes me dance and always makes me smile, what number will I be at? And then later I ask myself again, what number am I at now? I'm at a 7. Oh my gosh. So this is proof that it is possible to go from 5 to 7 in this span of time. So I constantly need to be conscious of how I'm feeling. I think when it comes to bad days, very often we feel things and we immediately call it bad day, and then we don't allow any room to get better, right? And when bad things happen, which inevitably life is tough, it will send whatever it wants to send to you. I think it's important to always check in with yourself and be like, how am I feeling? How do I get to the next number? That's it.
Right.
Yeah, it's more like self-awareness, right?
Self-awareness.
It is.
Yeah.
And writing down all the things that you know, like music makes me smile, creating,
Yes.
drawing, meeting this
True.
friend, this
Writing.
person makes me smile, so I'll put that, and this person will bring me up by 1.
Josh, you're in your state right now. I'd say you're one of the most successful students I know in your field. But besides success, I would say love, romance is something that I would say really makes you smile. Every time I see your Instagram post, it's about somebody special, somebody who made your day. And because this is Pride Month, I want to ask you, what's something that somebody did to you that until now, if you remember it, you will have this really mouth-tearing smile in your face right now? I can see it. It's starting to mouth tear. I can see it. What's that something that somebody did to you that makes you like really gives you this mouth tearing smile? If you remember there's something special that somebody did ever to you, with transgenders, transsexuals, people you've known in your community, maybe somebody you've loved, maybe somebody who've fallen in love with you. What was that something special that you still remember
Let's
to
make it
date?
10.
Yeah, well, it's actually something that's really recent. So I have this thing where my memory hasn't been very great. So like anything past like 3 years or 2 years, my memory gets a little bit hazy. I don't know if that's the case for you, but like I try to only think about today or yesterday or maybe last week. But there's this recent thing that happened for me with my boyfriend, who he got me this microphone, right? And he knew that I've been doing a lot of talks. He knew that I've been doing this podcast, and I want to keep doing it. And with the COVID situation, we can't sometimes book certain studios to record. So he went out and bought this microphone for me, and he surprised me at my friend's place.
I need that boyfriend.
No, but like this meant a lot to me because like I don't usually get surprised. I usually have a schedule and I have everything filled out, and if we're going out, we have already planned the dates that we're going to be going out on. So in my mind, he's really busy and he's at work, and I'm here to be with my friends. And when he showed up, it was just so surprising for me because I'm like, you're at work. You're supposed to be at work. I'm so confused, but you're here, and I'm so happy that you're here. And I felt so happy because I felt like I didn't deserve him just being there, because it felt like I had to plan everything to see him. And this time he just showed up and he was right there, and there was no planning required. So I think that it was less to do with the microphone, less to maybe
Or in the
even less to
presence
do
or
with the
time, I
surprise.
think.
Yeah, it's just the
Right.
idea of him being able to be there was just like surprising for me.
Right. Josh, this is really
Next
cool
option.
actually to see you today, and all the tips that you have. One last time, just one last
Sure.
tip to the person listening to you who's probably in the same boat as you are, and probably have been going through the same prejudice, stereotype, perhaps challenge that you are going through day after day, week after week, and you still keep on going. What would you tell that person?
I would ask you to hug yourself, to physically hug yourself. Sometimes we forget the warmth that we can give ourselves, because I do that too. Sometimes before my boyfriend came along, it was years and years of being alone and feeling like I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. And anytime I would feel lonely, I would physically just hug myself and feel my own warmth. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, I can hug myself, and I can love myself, and I can like myself, and I can spend time with myself, and I can entertain myself with my thoughts and go into my imagination, and I can create. And something as simple as hugging yourself without having to convince anyone to hug you, that is that first step to really finding that ability to love yourself. Yeah.
In the very words of Whitney Houston, because the greatest love of all is to learning to love yourself. Learning to love yourself. It is the greatest
Is that what she sings?
love. Yeah, she did that. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them
Oh,
live again. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. Josh, you know I love you, and my door, my home is always open to you. We can always do collaboration. Same thing, same like before. And you're a person close to my heart. Even though we don't talk
oh.
too much, it just takes a text, and we're okay. Hope to see you continuing doing what you're doing, and please keep on posting your interview with the celebrities and non-celebrities. Actually, the best interviews I've seen from you was when you're talking to normal people, and you just become you, and you blossom, and you bring out the best
Yeah.
in them. To me, those are the most, I would say, prolific, fantastic interviews that you have. Besides those interviews with Katy Perry and Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and you name it, all of the
Mm.
people from Hollywood that you've interviewed. I like it when you're at your own, comfort zone and your own comfort, and I see you shining as you are. Keep shining and
Oh,
always look up. Always look up. Okay.
thank
Keep
you for
shining.
having me. This is a fantastic show, and the work that you do for the community here is incredible. Thank you so much. And now I understand why there's always a long queue at Far East Plaza for Max's Fried Chicken. Because because like I didn't know there was like a history behind this, and it's linked to sort of
Dude,
Filipino culture.
yeah, Max's Fried Chicken is something
Yes.
that our grandfathers would bring us there. And Filipinos don't eat half a chicken. We eat the whole chicken. I kid you not.
Yeah.
As a child,
I
I
didn't know
I
because
kid you
every time
not.
the bus stops outside of Far East
Yeah,
Plaza when I get off, I see a long queue. And I remember when it opened, it was like
yeah,
madhouse. I was like,
and
who? I never
yeah.
heard of Max's.
Yes.
And in case you didn't know, the word sisig, SISIG, that sisig is in the
Yeah.
top 10 lists in New York for pub grubs. Like people who eat things at the pub and at bar hopping. It's an after party meal that New Yorkers are digging right now. And it's in the top 10 list.
Mm.
So there you go,
Mm.
Max's Fried Chicken. And how can you go wrong with the crispy fried pork? Come on, we call it crispy pata. You can't go wrong with it. So you know what? One day,
Cannot. Yeah.
after all of this pandemic happens, Jeff and I will bring you to Max's Fried Chicken. That's a promise.
Yes.
You have to
I
make
miss that
sure you're
place.
available, and please don't tell me you're dieting because I know you've been on diet, on workout. I've seen your progress, Joshua. Please don't give the Filipinos a reason that says I'm dieting. In the Filipino, the word diet is not in the alphabet. It's not there at all.
I can't
Vegetable
wait.
is our side dish, correct, Jeffrey?
Correct.
When you ask a Filipino, where's the freaking vegetable? It's a side dish, Duzum. God bless, Josh. Okay,
That's
take
it,
care.
God
sis.
bless. Take care.
You
Be
take
safe.
care.
Bye.
And
Bye-bye.
hope to see you once again in your show. And please, we'll tell more of the people about you. What time can we catch you at Kiss 92 every weekday?
Every weekday night at 8 p.m. My podcast is called The SG Boys. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm on Instagram at Joshua Simon XL.
There you go. Thanks,
All right.
Josh. God bless. Salamat. Okay.
Take care.
Salamat.
Bye bye. So fun. I mean, Jeff, my heart is fat because we've spoken to two wonderful people. One is Sass,
Mm.
and then this Joshua, and two people who have a lot of acumen in their own youth. Because I think they're not very far from each other in terms of age, and yet they have
Mm.
accomplished so much in their lives. Talagang nakaka-bless, no?
Of course.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We'd like to tell you we're giving you a couple more minutes. We're a little bit over time right here. We have two $20 food voucher from Max's Fried Chicken, all right? And all you have to do is I'm going to give you about a couple more seconds right here. To be honest, I'll give you a minute, okay? I'll give you 60 seconds to
Minute.
text the phrase Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. Okay, once again, in the comments below, pakisend nyo po ngayon na. I'm giving you 1 minute after I finish talking. I-text nyo po sa ating comments below, Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. I repeat one last time, Max's Fried Chicken, sarap to the bones, Far East Plaza. Text it right now. Put it in the comment section below because in about a minute's time, we're going to be drawing the 2 lucky winners with this $20 Max's Fried Chicken. Dalawa po ang mananalo. Okay, Jeff? I think we should probably run a little bit of background music while we're trying to figure out who are these winners. Okay, so once again, thank you so much to Sass. All right.
Joshua.
And Joshua for gracing our occasion today, celebrating Pride Month, not just in Singapore, but the whole wide world. In case you didn't know, the name is credited to Brenda Howard, a bisexual New York activist who is actually nicknamed the Mother of the Pride, who organized the first Pride Parade in the USA. In case you didn't know, that's one thing that you should know about LGBTQ+. So while we're waiting for you to text us on Max's Fried Chicken, set up to the bones, Far East Plaza, on the comments below, meron pa ng mga lugar dito sa Singapore, Jeff, that we can visit in order for us to enjoy a lot of things. Food, entertainment, pizza, whatnot.
Saan yan?
Filmmaking. Ito yung mga lugar. Isa, yung Pelangi Pride Center. Okay? You can type it in your own website, Pelangi Pride Center.
Pelangi.
Ito ay between Tanjong Pagar and Outram Park. Madami tayong makita ng mga lugar doon. Itong Pelangi Pride Center ay nasa Pride Center mismo. It offers neutral and friendly space for you to explore what you are. Okay? Ang ganda po nito. Yun po yung isa sa mga lugar, and I think we can try to flash that on our screen. Nasa trailer natin to, Jeff. Okay? So this is the Pelangi Pride Center. Okay? Yung the second one na pwede mong puntahan, pwede kayong manood ng movies, meron siyang bar. It's called the Projector and the Intermission Bar. So ito ay nasa Kalang, I think, if I'm not wrong. Yun yung Projector and Intermission Bar. So isa ito sa mga place that you can also go and enjoy things in there. Tapos kung mahilig ka sa photography and filmmaking, ang maganda dito sa Singapore, it's always safe and you'll never be in danger. It's a really safe place. Is you can swing by on Objectives Center for Photography and Filmmaking. Ito ay na-establish since 2003. Ito yung Objectives, okay? Objectives. Okay, Objectives. Maganda yan, especially, I think Jeff should be into this because photography tsaka filmmaking,
filmmaking,
ito pa isa yung Peppermint Park. Yung Peppermint Park, I think this one is in Tanjong Pagar area. Maganda ito. So they have all kinds of pizza, meron silang 12-inch pizza, and among other things na pwede nyong ma-enjoy. Yung PS Cafe sa Tanjong Pagar, it's widely known na a lot of people from the LGBT plus community also gather there sa PS Cafe sa Tanjong Pagar.
PS Cafe, sa Hill
sa Hill. Actually, most of the PS Cafe, a lot of LGBTQ plus actually just do go around there. And it's nice. You can talk to them, you can network with them. Some of them are in the business and the industry too. Tapos yung isa, yung Ugat Chaga. Ito ay in-establish ito as a non-profit LGBTQ na organization. It is known for its counseling services, hotline, WhatsApp, face-to-face. Yun ang maganda kasi alam mo, tsaka sa mga nakikinig sa atin, pinag-aralan namin ito kahit sa eskwelahan. Yung mga suicide rate sa Singapore, karaniwan din, ang pinakamataas na rate is mga lalaki. Karaniwan. If you study yung mga statistics ng IMH, yung Institute of Mental Health, karaniwan mga lalaki ang nasa peligro ng suicide. At naturally din, yung ating LGBTQ plus community ay karaniwan at karamihan ng member nito ay also mga lalaki din. I'm not saying there's no girls, but yung peligro tsaka yung suicide, depression, anxiety, ang pinakamalaking increase lagi is on the male side. I'm not saying na hindi ganun yung mga nangyayari sa babae, pero meron din ganun sa mga lalaki. Yun ang
mahirap kasi maglabas ng emotions ng lalaki. I think that's one of the reasons.
Yung di ba yung sinabi natin, yung nakausap natin si Jenny last time, yung expertise niya on research on this, pag ang lalaki daw talaga nag-decide na mag-suicide, kailangan nandun ka lagi sa tabi ng lalaki kasi normally daw, ang decision ng lalaki, just like that. Hindi mo na maagapan. Ganun kabilis. Yung emotional decision niya na kahit na yung decision ay hindi dapat gawin is there already. Ganun kabilis. Right. So anywho, yun po, sinabi namin sa inyong topic today. We celebrated Pride and kaming dalawa ni Jeffrey, para kaming straight na guys, pero we have friends from both the LGBTQ plus community. At kung meron po kayong problema and you're part of the community at meron kayong problema, you want to speak to somebody, please don't hesitate to call this number 8525-2643 sa Pilangi Pride Center. At ito po sa isa pa yung sa Ugachaga, you can also call them for counseling services, 6226-2002, 6226-2002. Kasi po, we care for you. Alam namin sa ating community ng mga Pilipino, madami ding LGBTQ. At nais lang namin sabihin sa inyo, anuman ang estado nyo sa buhay, meron pong nagmamahal sa inyo. Hindi kayo nag-iisa. Tandaan nyo po yun. Yan sa amin. Kaya salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik ng programa ngayon. Medyo edgy yung topics natin, pero masarap kausap yung ating dalawang guest, no? At madami din tayo natutunan. Yan, Jeff, meron tayo pang, once again, last call. Ito na po. I-text nyo sa baba ng ating comment section. It's 11:30 na, nag-overtime tayo ng konti. I-text nyo yung Max's Fried Chicken Sarap to the Bones, Far East Plaza, sa ating comment section. Magbibilang na po kami ng 15 seconds from now. At lalagay ko na yung timer ko. Yan. Nakikinig na sa atin yung ating admin. Lalagay ko na yung timer natin dito, Jeff. Okay? In 15 seconds. Ayan. Lalagay na natin. Okay? In 15 seconds. Eto na tayo. Lagay mo na ng music, sir. Lalagay ko na yung timer ko. Ito. Andali, So, 15 seconds tayo. Pag nag-time na yung yung timer. Medyo analog tayo. Ngayon, 8 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sino yan ang winner? Post na ng winner.
Sino ang ating winner? First winner.
Congratulations, Josie Balbuena and Mary Ann Domingo, Tipon Dalafu. You won $20 cash voucher each from Max Restaurant.
Congratulations, Josie Balbuena, Mary Ann Domingo, Tipon Dalafu. Nanalo kayo ng $20 cash voucher each from Max's Restaurant. Ite-text namin kayo para po malaman nyo kung saan nyo pwedeng makuha ang inyong prize na $20 galing sa Max's Fried Chicken Sarap to the Bones from Far East Plaza. Nami-miss ko yung crispy pata. Grabe ka, Jeff, nung pinatugtog mo kanina yung yung kami ni Josh, naglalaway kami sa kabila, yung crispy pata.
Ako din
Alam mo, masarap sa kanila, hindi lang yung crispy pata. Sabi ng mga anak ko, ang champion because sa crispy pata, yung lumpiang Shanghai nila ang masarap. Masarap yung lumpiang Shanghai ng Max's Fried Chicken, masarap yun. I mean, masarap lahat, pero yun ng...
lumpia.
Yung
lumpia masarap mang mainit, di ba? Pero ako, parang prefer ko yung malamig na lumpia. Hindi ko alam kung bakit.
Okay. Pwede rin. Pero yun ang malamig man. Yung mga anak ko, kasi hodang malamig o malutong yung lumpiang Shanghai, yun ang paborito nila sa Max's Fried Chicken. Pag umorder kami ng isa, nagko-complain yung mga anak ko, ba't isa lang in-order mo?
Dapat malaki.
Dapat dalawa. At saka kung hindi niyo po alam, kung hindi po kayo nakaka-order ng food sa Max's Fried Chicken, kung kayo po ay first timer, meron po silang tinatawag na free delivery. Kung ang order nyo ay $80, okay, pataas, meron silang free delivery. Tapos meron yata silang for weekdays, yung Tuesday nila, tsaka yung Wednesday yata nila yung yung mas mura yung liempo, mas mura yung crispy pata pagka Wednesday yata. Tsaka yung Tuesday, yung meron silang chicken, yung fried chicken na promo. Nakalimutan ko yung promo pero makikita niyo yun sa Facebook page nila. I-type nyo lang Max's Fried Chicken Singapore. Once again, congratulations Josie and Marianne.
Ayan, nag-congrats na si Mary Ann Domingo. Salamat po. Yan.
Sa muling uulitin, tayo ay magsasama muli po sa FISTalk, sa FISTalk. I-update po namin kayo. Minsan po nag-i-increase ang shows natin kasi madaming mga kakausapin, madaming nakabook na gusto pong pumasok sa ating show. At sa mga susunod na linggo, maririnig niyo po ang aming mga update dito po sa FIS page. No, Jeff?
Yes.
Madami kayong. So, tatay niyo po, i-share niyo po yung show natin. Kung hindi niyo po napanood, i-share niyo po yung link. I-share niyo po sa mga kaibigan niyo na hindi nakapanood ngayon para po ma-watch nila si Sass at saka si Joshua at saka syempre yung ating promo with Max's Fried Chicken. Salamat pong muli.
Oo.
11:17 right now. Sa pangalan ni Jeff G, ako po si Super Mario for FISTalk. Pagpalain po kayo ng pang may kapal. More power to you.
More power. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Happy Pride Month! Nawala yung
Filipinos
costume
in
natin,
Singapore talk.
Can we just talk?
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.
Before we get lost.
Filipinos in Singapore talk. FIS talk.
9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live. 9 to 11 p.m. live. 9 to 11 p.m. on Saturdays, live.